Oh my gosh. There we go. We find happiness. We're coming up to 20 years of marriage, actually. Yeah. Kind of crazy, right?
Nicole's divorce filing comes just 5 days after she stepped out still wearing her wedding ring. Nicole signed the doc yesterday and cites irreconcilable differences. The actress was granted primary custody of their 2 teenage daughters.
Nicole Kidman is getting candid about her new life changes. During an interview with Vogue that occurred shortly before she filed for divorce from Keith Urban, the actress alluded to facing a new chapter, telling the outlet, "How many times do you have to be taught that you think you know where your life is going and then it isn't going in that direction?"
After 19 years of marriage, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban are divorcing and everyone is just shocked. An interesting thing about this is they actually separated in June according to TMZ. Reports were saying that Nicole wanted to save this marriage, but Keith, on the other hand, did not. And allegedly, his inner circle was saying that he already moved on with another woman.
We're told he felt Nicole wasn't showing up for him emotionally and felt that it was time to walk away. However, another source tells ET Nicole has stood by Keith throughout the highs and lows since the day they met. The couple has reportedly been living apart since the beginning of the summer. Our source says Keith has his own place in Nashville and has been living there for a while.
After almost 20 years together, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's fairytale marriage has come to a shocking end. And trust me, the details behind it are wild. This wasn't just a quiet separation or a simple "we grew apart" story. There were deep, long buried issues behind closed doors. And now the truth is starting to surface. Stay tuned until the end because what Nicole just revealed about Keith Urban will leave you speechless.
Incredible mom. Loving maternal, you know.
A source tells ET she is devastated about the split, adding she tried everything to save the 19-year marriage.
My wife, Nicole Mary, is here tonight. I love you, baby girl.
Do people tell you your wife is in everything? Everything? Nicole Kidman is in everything.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I mean,
she's almost as busy as you, but not quite. Very close.
I don't know, bro. I think she's like everything. First of all, she makes the greatest choices, and I'm sure you guys.
Yeah,
talk
everything
about
she
things.
does is fantastic.
Like I was watching one of the series last night where I mean, she can get evil, diabolical in some of her roles as well. But
Yeah.
is that something with your life, her life, and mapping it all out with production and touring? That's a job, isn't it?
It's a job. Yeah.
And teenagers.
That still makes me very happy. He cried, she cried.
I was missing her, maybe. Yeah.
According to sources, Nicole feels betrayed, and it's been reported that Keith may already have another woman in his life, which would speak to the betrayal.
Keith Urban, who's known for his raw emotional performances, reportedly let his pain spill out on stage, a rare glimpse into the heartbreak he's been carrying. Meanwhile, Nicole has handled the breakup with quiet grace, but those closest to her say there's a lot more going on beneath that calm exterior. Some believe the cracks in their marriage had been there for years, hidden behind red carpet smiles and picture-perfect interviews. Now everyone's asking the same question. What really went wrong? Was it the pressure of fame? The sacrifices they made to chase their dreams? Or were there deeper issues that they just couldn't fix? The most haunting part is Nicole's silence. She hasn't said much publicly, but sometimes silence says more than words ever could. This isn't your usual Hollywood breakup. This is a story of love, loss, and the private battles no one saw coming.
I have the most extraordinary partner in life. Well, it's a big, epic, romantic drama.
Now tell them about the movie.
Picture it, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, Hollywood's golden couple, the kind of duo people swore would last forever. She's the award-winning actress with the elegance of a queen. He's the country superstar with a voice, the guitar, and the charm to match. For nearly 2 decades, they were the definition of #couple goals. But beneath the glitz and glamour, something was slowly breaking. Their perfect romance started to crack in ways no one could have predicted. A mix of whirlwind highs and quiet heartbreaks that eventually tore them apart. Nicole's story has always been one of quiet strength and transformation. She wasn't born into fame, far from it. Born in Honolulu and raised in Sydney, she was a shy kid who found her confidence through ballet and community theater. Acting became her escape, her way to express herself. At just 16, she got her first break in BMX Bandits. and that one role launched a journey that would take her all the way to Hollywood. By the late 80s, Nicole was turning heads with her powerful performance in Dead Calm, showing a maturity far beyond her age. But her big Hollywood moment came in 1990 with Days of Thunder, where she starred opposite Tom Cruise. Their chemistry lit up the screen, and soon, real life too. The two got married that same year and adopted 2 children, Connor and Isabella, becoming one of the most famous couples in the world.
After 19 years of marriage, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban are divorcing and everyone is just shocked. An interesting thing about this is they actually separated in June according to TMZ. Reports were saying that Nicole wanted to save this marriage, but Keith, on the other hand, did not. And allegedly, his inner circle was saying that he already moved on with another woman. Today, we're getting in the news that Nicole filed for divorce from Keith Urban. And apparently, this is due to irreconcilable differences, probably just a real fancy way of saying like they weren't getting along. According to their parenting plan, we know that the kids are going to spend 306 days with Nicole and 59 days with Keith. They also agreed that all major decisions involving their kids.
But after more than a decade together, it all came crashing down. Their 2001 divorce shocked fans everywhere, and for a moment it looked like Nicole's story might end in heartbreak. But she proved everyone wrong. She came back stronger, reinventing herself with powerful performances that reminded everyone exactly who she was. Her role in Moulin Rouge earned her an Oscar nomination and solidified her as one of Hollywood's greatest actresses. Not just because of her talent, but because of her resilience. Nicole Kidman showed the world that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you can rise and shine, even brighter than before. While Nicole was building her empire in Hollywood, Keith Urban's story was playing out on the other side of the world. Just as dramatic, but far less glamorous. Born in New Zealand and raised in Australia, music ran through his veins. His dad loved country music, and his mom was his biggest supporter. By the time he was 6, Keith was already holding a guitar, and as a teenager, he was performing in small-town bars, chasing the dream that seemed so far away. But the road to fame wasn't easy. Keith struggled deeply with addiction, and D's threatened to ruin his career before it even started. There were moments when he almost lost it all. But every time he fell, his love for music pulled him back up. After years of fighting his demons, 2002 became his breakthrough. His song, Somebody Like You, turned into a country anthem, catapulting him straight into stardom and making him one of the most recognizable names in country music. Still, fame came with pressure, and Keith's struggles didn't magically disappear. He used music to heal, pouring his pain and recovery into his lyrics. His songs weren't just about fame anymore. They were about survival. That honesty became his strength. Fans connected with his vulnerability, and soon, Keith wasn't just loved for his voice, he was respected for his heart. Then came the night that changed everything. The year was 2005, and at the G'day USA Gala in Los Angeles, 2 worlds collided. Nicole Kidman, the Hollywood icon, known for her elegance and grace, crossed paths with Keith Urban, the rising star with charm and humility. It wasn't love at first sight, not even close. Nicole later admitted she wasn't sure Keith was interested. He didn't rush to call her, and their first meeting came and went without any real spark. But even then, something lingered, a quiet connection neither of them fully understood. Months later, Keith finally made the move and called Nicole. That one call changed everything. What started as small talk turned into deep conversations, and before long, a genuine romance began to bloom. It didn't take long for the world to notice the Oscar-winning actress and the country superstar were officially a couple, and they seemed unstoppable.
I thought she was way out of my league. Not in a million years did I think somebody like that would be interested in me at all. We just started talking and just really clicked.
I didn't know anything else. He was really my first major relationship, and that was all I knew.
But as the years went by, the fairy tale started to fade. By 2011, the whispers began. Rumors that things weren't as perfect as they looked. Nicole was at the height of her career, working long hours on major projects like The Undoing. Her schedule was packed, and her independence grew stronger than ever. Meanwhile, Keith was still battling his old demons. His struggles with addiction resurfaced, and while he tried to keep it together, the strain began to show.
Their hectic schedules.
This goes out to the wild cards.
Keith is currently on tour and performs Friday in Connecticut. He's also spent much of the last year shooting a new music competition series called The Road with Blake Shelton, which premieres October 19th on CBS.
For the cameras, they smiled. On red carpets, they laughed. But behind closed doors, things were different. The emotional distance grew, slowly but surely. By the mid-2010s, they were living parallel lives. Close enough to look happy, but far enough to feel alone. Nicole threw herself into her acting, Keith into his music, and somewhere between the fame, the pressure, and the silence, the spark that once brought them together started to fade.
Nicole had said she was planning to work less and take some time off after having 3 movies and 3 TV projects released in 2024.
Thank you for working so hard, and thank you to Keith Urban for playing guitar around the house so much that she wants to leave and make 18 movies a year.
But that break never came. Nicole currently has 6 upcoming projects, including Practical Magic 2 with Sandra Bullock that wrapped earlier this month.
I've got an enormous amount of support from my husband and from my children.
Beyond the heartache, there's the money. Nicole's fortune is worth an estimated $250 million. Keith, $75 million. The singer reportedly signed a prenup before their 2006 wedding.
Then came the headline that shook Hollywood. In 2023, news broke that Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban had officially gone their separate ways. Fans couldn't believe it. Almost 20 years together. One of the most admired love stories in the entertainment world had come to an end. But looking back, the signs were there all along. The long work trips, the quiet distance, the pressure to keep up that perfect image in front of the cameras. Whether it was Keith's ongoing battles, or Nicole's growing independence, or just the constant weight of fame, something eventually had to give.
Whoa, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's breakup is probably the biggest celebrity split so far of 2025, but maybe there were signs all along. In an interview last year with Times writer Ed Potton, Keith supposedly got a little antsy when the subject of Nicole was brought up.
We've had the best conversation, he said, and at the very end you're going to give one more swing to see if I'll talk about my wife. I'm not going to talk about her.
And during this interview with an Australian radio show, Keith hung up when he was asked a question about Nicole.
Oh, why has that happened? What's just happened to you?
He's disconnected from Zoom.
Did he just hang up on us? That's
He's
what's
gone.
happened.
He's
Oh my
gone.
God!
Still, both of them refused to let heartbreak destroy who they were. Nicole didn't crumble, she came back even stronger. Instead of letting divorce define her, she turned her pain into power. Her roles in Big Little Lies and The Undoing became proof of that strength, earning her awards, praise, and a whole new wave of respect. Even under the harsh spotlight of public scrutiny, she carried herself with grace, calm, composed, and unshaken. Nicole Kidman reminded the world that resilience isn't about avoiding pain, it's about rising from it. Keith's path after the breakup was just as powerful, though not without struggle. His battles didn't magically disappear, but he faced them head on. After the divorce, he focused more on his recovery, his health, his peace, his balance. And as always, music became his escape and his therapy. Through new albums and sold-out tours, he poured his heart into every lyric, every performance. Fans saw this growth, not just as an artist, but as a man learning to find strength through honesty and healing. He turned heartbreak into harmony, and pain into something beautiful. Even though their marriage ended, Nicole and Keith's story still holds weight. They built a family, shared joy and laughter, and created moments that will forever be remembered. Their love wasn't fake, it was real, passionate, and human. But like so many great loves, it was also fragile. Fame, distance, and personal struggles have a way of testing even the strongest bonds. In the end, their story is a reminder that even fairy tales have shadows. Nicole and Keith showed the world that love, no matter how powerful, can be tested by life's harshest realities. Their marriage may have ended, but their legacy lives on. Both walked away stronger, wiser, and forever changed by the love they once shared.
And this happened on another radio show in Australia.
I just often think that if you weren't at that event, maybe you don't have the same friendship group, it may never have happened.
Well, never know.
You never know.
It's fate. It's the universe.
Anyway, moving on.
I think so.
That body language says, I'm over it, and it gives us an idea about the timeline.
So what do you think about Nicole and Keith's journey? Could they have made it work? Let's rewind the clock and take a closer look at what really happened before everything fell apart. Let's be real, celebrity marriages rarely last forever. With all the pressure, fame, and constant media attention, it's honestly a miracle when a Hollywood couple manages to stay together for the long haul. For years, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban seemed like one of those rare exceptions, a love story that actually beat the odds. But then came the bombshell that no one saw coming. After nearly 2 decades of marriage, their split was confirmed. and the fairy tale everyone believed in suddenly shattered.
That still makes me very happy. He cried, she cried. I mean, when do you get to have your wedding photograph on the cover of People magazine? That really was an extraordinary day. I remember being in Sydney and driving down the street, and there was such a sort of, I was with my dad, who's obviously not around now, and he was in the car with me, and we were driving to the church, and there were people, so many people on the street, sort of celebrating us, which was just one of the most emotional things in my life. And subsequently, I've had 2 little girls with this man, so, oh my gosh, there we go. We find happiness. We're coming up to 20 years of marriage, actually. Yeah, kind of crazy, right?
Let's rewind to where it all began. It was 2005, just a few years after Nicole's very public divorce from Tom Cruise. She had spent over a decade in that marriage, and when it ended, she admitted that she felt lonely and lost. Then came Keith. The two met at the G'day Los Angeles Gala, an event celebrating Australian talent in Hollywood, and according to those close to them, it was like 2 souls meeting at just the right time. Nicole later shared that they were both a mix of frightened and brave, 2 people who found comfort in each other when they needed it most. From that moment on, they built a life together filled with highs, lows, and everything in between. They faced it all: Keith's trips to rehab, endless rumors, award nominations, red carpets, and career reinventions. But through every challenge, they always found a way back to each other. They even welcomed 2 daughters, giving fans the impression that their love was unshakable. For years, they really did look like the couple that could survive anything Hollywood threw their way.
I was missing her, maybe, yeah.
Keith said the lines in his song The Fighter, which he recorded with Carrie Underwood, were actually things he and Nicole said to each other.
So proud of her. She's got such a beautiful heart.
Their story started like a movie. They were first introduced in early 2005 by actor Jeffrey Rush at that same G'day Los Angeles event. And while there was chemistry, Keith didn't make a move right away. Nicole would later laugh about it, saying she had the biggest crush on him, but he never called. Not for 4 months. Imagine that. She thought he wasn't interested, but the truth was far more complicated. Keith later revealed that he did have her number, but he just wasn't in the best place emotionally at that time. He didn't think someone like Nicole would ever see something in him, but eventually he found the courage to make the call, and when he did, everything changed. They talked for hours, completely lost in conversation, and that effortless connection became the start of something real. That one phone call would set the stage for a romance that captured the world's attention, a love story filled with hope, heartbreak, and hard truths. By early 2006, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were finally ready to take their love public. In February, they made their first appearance together at the Grammys. They didn't walk the red carpet side by side, but inside, cameras caught them looking cozy in the audience, clearly smitten but keeping things classy. Fans instantly knew something real was brewing. A few months later, in May, Nicole shocked everyone when she casually revealed she was engaged to Keith while hosting a Unifem gala. It was one of those, wait, did she just say that moments? And that had the media buzzing. Soon after, Keith's team confirmed it. The couple was happily engaged, though wedding details stayed private. Then just a month later, the fairytale wedding happened. In June 2006, Nicole and Keith tied the knot in a stunning ceremony at a chapel in Manly, Australia. The guest list was filled with A-listers like Russell Crowe, Hugh Jackman, and Naomi Watts. But according to guests, all eyes were on the couple. When they looked at each other, it was like the rest of the world disappeared.
Do people tell you your wife is in everything? Everything? Nicole Kidman is in everything.
Yeah, she's almost as busy as you, but not quite. Very close.
I don't know, bro. I think she's like everything. First of all, she makes the greatest choices, and I'm sure you guys.
Yeah, everything she does is fantastic.
Like I was watching one of the series last night where when she can get evil, diabolical in some of her roles as well. But
Yeah.
is that something with your life, her life, and mapping it all out with production and touring? That's a job, isn't it?
It's a job. Yeah.
And teenagers.
I love. If you could describe Nicole's look tonight in one word, she looks stunning. What would you say?
Celestial.
Love it. Thank you so much, Keith. Have fun tonight.
Thank you too.
But the fairy tale faced its first test soon after. 4 months later, Keith checked himself into rehab at the Betty Ford Center. It was a painful but necessary step, and he publicly admitted his struggle with addiction, saying Nicole's support gave him the strength to heal. He would later call it a turning point, saying her grace during that time brought them closer together. Still, the headlines didn't stay quiet for long. By December, rumors began swirling that a model claimed that she had been involved with Keith before and during his relationship with Nicole, even saying it continued up until their wedding. She told tabloids she felt sorry for Nicole and warned that if he cheated once, he might do it again. Neither Keith nor Nicole ever responded to the cheating rumors. They stayed silent, choosing peace over drama and focusing on healing their marriage instead of feeding the tabloids.
According to sources, Nicole feels betrayed, and it's been reported that Keith may already have another woman in his life, which would speak to the betrayal. Apparently, they had worked out all the divorce agreements, like the money and the parenting, way ahead, like almost a month ago. So this was already done, but we're hearing that Nicole wanted to delay the public announcement, probably because her kids were going back to school, and Keith was the one pushing for it.
By 2007, Nicole was finally ready to speak her truth. In a Vanity Fair cover story, she opened up about how hard those early years were, how she stood by Keith through his recovery. She said loving someone in recovery taught her about patience and strength, and despite how painful it got, they managed to come out stronger. That same year, Nicole revealed she was ready to expand their family. After years of adoption, she dreamed of experiencing pregnancy, and Keith knew how much it meant to her. A few months later, that dream became reality. In early 2008, her rep confirmed she and Keith were expecting their first child. Nicole even dropped out of filming The Reader to focus on motherhood, showing she valued family over fame. That July, she gave birth to Sunday Rose, a name inspired by an Australian art muse and Keith's grandmother. It was his first biological child and Nicole's third, marking a new beginning after everything they'd been through. 2 years later, just before 2011, they welcomed another daughter, Faith Margaret, via surrogate. The couple shared how blessed they felt, even keeping Faith's birth a secret for weeks, attending the Golden Globes as if nothing had changed. By 2015, Nicole reflected on her life with Keith in Vogue, admitting she'd wished they'd met sooner to have more time and maybe more kids. But Keith often reminded her to stay grateful for what they already had. Their love, though imperfect, was built on balance, faith, and second chances. In 2016, Keith Urban finally opened up about just how much Nicole had changed his life. In an interview with Rolling Stone, he admitted that he nearly ruined their marriage early on, but Nicole never gave up on him. He said her intervention saved him, describing it as a spiritual awakening that made him feel truly alive for the first time. To him, being with Nicole felt like being born again. Their story became proof that love can rebuild even the most broken pieces. They faced challenges most couples never could: rehab, relentless tabloids, yet somehow they always found their way back to each other. By 2018, after more than a decade of marriage, they still seemed unshakable. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar, Nicole said their secret was simple: balance. When she wasn't working, she unplugged completely, spending quiet days with Keith in Nashville, away from the spotlight. Their life was peaceful, grounded, and full of love. For years, that simplicity kept them strong.
Nicole has stood by Keith throughout the highs and lows since the day they met. The couple has reportedly been living apart since the beginning of the summer. Our source says Keith has his own place in Nashville and has been living there for a while.
But nearly a decade later, everything changed. In September 2025, TMZ broke the news that stunned everyone. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban had separated after 19 years together. Reports said they'd been living apart since summer, with Nicole doing her best to hold the family together while Keith stayed away. Sources claim Nicole didn't want the split, but Keith had already moved into his own place in Nashville. Fans were heartbroken. This was the couple everyone thought would last forever. Whether divorce papers are coming or not, it seems the fairy tale might finally be over. After nearly 2 decades of love, fame, and resilience, Hollywood's golden couple could be closing their final chapter. After filing for divorce, Nicole Kidman's silence has spoken louder than words, and it's left everyone wondering what dark truth about Keith Urban she's finally ready to reveal. Was it heartbreak, betrayal, or something deeper behind closed doors? One thing's for sure, the truth always comes out in Hollywood. Stay tuned because this story isn't over yet. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. The tea is just getting started.